Hey everyone, my name is Beth and today I'll be going over 6 major cognitive biases, which are confirmation bias, overconfidence, belief perseverance, fixation, intuition, and framing. To start off, the first cognitive bias is confirmation bias, which is the tendency to look for evidence to help support a person's belief or claim instead of refuting against it. A real-life example can be seen in the group of Michigan protesters that went to their state capitol to demand that the stay-at-home order be lifted. Anytime these people find another reason that supports their claim, their beliefs about the stay-at-home order become reinforced. But because they focus too much on the supporting evidences and ideas, such as them wanting to lift the stay-at-home order because they want to go back to their jobs and boost the economy, there are fatal consequences to it, such as potentially hitting the US with a second wave of coronavirus that could be much more fatal than the first one, and overall raising public health concerns. The second cognitive bias is overconfidence, which is the tendency for people to be too confident or overestimate the accuracy of their abilities and beliefs. An example of this can be seen if a person thinks that he's much more smarter than he actually is. In order to demonstrate overconfidence, what this person might do is not study at all for his upcoming AP exam because he thinks that he's too smart. Because he doesn't study at all and because he's too overconfident or overestimating his actual abilities, he ends up failing the AP exam. The third bias is belief perseverance, which is when someone holds onto their initial beliefs even in the presence of evidence that contradicts it and supports the opposing side. An example of this can be seen if you believe that your first PE teacher is super mean. Even though you've seen that same teacher exhibit a very kind personality by doing things such as raising her students' grades, by offering them extra credit and tutorings, and even staying after school to help the janitor clean up the campus, you hold on to your initial beliefs and continue to believe that that same teacher is very mean, even when presented with opposing evidence. The fourth bias is fixation, which is the inability for a person to see a problem from a fresh, different perspective. There are 2 different types of fixation. The first one is mental set, and the second one is functional fixedness. Mental set is when you approach a problem with the same mindset that had worked previously. An example of this can be if the last time your computer froze, you decided to restart your computer and it worked. Well, because of that, the next time your computer freezes, you're very likely to restart your device just because that had worked for you before. The second type of fixation is functional fixedness, which is the tendency for people to look at objects in terms of their usual functions. So if you think that the only use for a bobby pin is to pin your hair up, then you have functional fixedness. But to overcome functional fixedness, what you could do is think of different ways that you can use one object. So other different ways that you can use a bobby pin is to pick locks, or to use it as a bookmark, or to even use as a zipper if your zipper breaks. The fifth cognitive bias is intuition, which is an effortless automatic thought or feeling that contradicts conscious reasoning, which is also known as your gut feeling. For this example, imagine that you are taking a walk near the woods and then see a man up ahead. Before gathering actual concrete information about that man, your first immediate thought is that he's either up to no good or that he's possibly lost. Those immediate automatic thoughts that you first get without gathering any information is basically your intuition speaking. The last type of cognitive bias is framing, which is the way an issue is presented. An example of this is if an advertiser claims that a container of frozen yogurt contains 20% fat. For a health-conscious person, the likelihood of them picking up the item is not that much. However, if that same advertiser were to alter the description from containing 20% fat to being 80% fat-free, the likelihood of that same customer picking up that item increases. This is because although both descriptions basically mean the same thing, 80% fat-free is seen in a positive connotation, whereas 20% fat is seen in a negative connotation.